Hello, welcome back to the next unit, counseling. All the topics that we are going to discuss in today's class are mentioned here for your reference. Now let's get into the class. So before directly entering into today's topic, which is counseling, first of all, it's a very small concept. So before directly entering into today's topic, let us have a quick recap or let us go back to this particular training framework. See, we have discussed about this training, right? Now, while discussing about the training, we have discussed about one particular topic called as training framework. Now, we told that, see, there are four different phases in training framework. That means whenever an organization, identifies gaps relating to the human resource, may it be relating to the knowledge or the skills or the level of performance or whatever it is, any gaps, related to the human resource in an organization. Whenever the organization identifies that, first it does this particular thing called as training needs analysis, where it tries to identify the training needs, or where it tries to justify the answer to the question, will training be helpful in order to manage these particular gaps. We told that in most of the cases, yes, training may be the answer, but there will be certain cases where training will not be the answer. Now let us understand this entire concept of counseling using a very small example. Let us assume that you are a highly skilled and highly trained software professional in a very big company. Okay. Now, since the organization, had confidence on you, your skill level, your expertise, and your knowledge and all these things, the organization gave you a particular project of writing a code, a software code to a particular program. Okay. Now, due to the complexity of that particular project, you fail to write the code to that particular program. Even though you are highly skilled and highly trained, you fail to write the code to that particular program because it is very complex. Now, you initially had self confidence on yourself. Now, since you failed to write the code to this particular program, that created a negative impact in your brain. So from that moment on, you had this negative impact, telling that, see, even though I was, I am basically, highly trained, highly skilled, I could not do this particular project. So that impression, sat down in your brain. So that started to have negative impacts on your next projects also. So your performance, slowly declined. Okay. This is all an example. Okay. Now, the organization identified the straight decline in your performance, and one fine day they called you, and they started to have a discussion telling that we have been observing a decline in your performance. What are the different reasons? Now, in this particular scenario, you cannot tell that training is a solution, because first of all, you are highly trained, highly skilled. In what aspect will they train you? Now, in these kind of scenarios where training is not the solution, and where psychological issues, see, in this particular example, there is a psychological issue. You have a negative impact that is sitting in your brain. This is basically a psychological issue. In these kind of scenarios where the psychological issues are involved, we do not go for training. We usually go for something called as counseling. So basically, counseling is a tool, that technique or mechanism that the organizations can use in order to develop the human resource or in an organization, especially when the issues are related to psychological aspects. Okay. This is the general sense of, or the general theme, or the basic theme of this entire concept of counseling. A very small and easy topic. Okay. Now, this is counseling, right? Now, today we are going to see about what do you mean by counseling, and what are the different things that a good counselor should have, how this particular counseling is provided in the organization, through what, how basically is counseling delivered. And we'll also be looking after the procedure of this particular counseling, or the different steps that are involved between the counselor and the counselee. And we'll also be looking after the basic difference between the counseling, coaching, and mentoring. The previous topics, coaching and mentoring, are there, right? We'll also be looking after the common things and the differences between the counseling and the coaching and mentoring. Okay. Now let's get into the theory part. So the seventh unit, counseling. Let's look after the basic definition and theory. See, a process initiated by the responsible manager or the counselor for providing assistance to employees facing problems. This is the basic definition of counseling. Okay, now see, coaching, mentoring, and other training methods are not always solutions. Sometimes there may be issues which go beyond the training methods. That means the knowledge, skills, and abilities could be up to the required levels, but still sometimes the performance levels can be low. This may be due to the lack of motivation or satisfaction, etc. Now, counseling is also a part of both human resource management and human resource development. That means you can use counseling for both human resource development and human resource management. That means, basically in counseling, you are, doing human, you are managing the human resource, in order to utilize them in the best possible way, as well as you're also looking in the development aspect, right? Now you're developing the human resource by solving their problems, right? Initially they used to have problems. Now you are helping them to overcome their problems. That means you are helping them to move a step ahead. That is the developmental aspect. Now you are basically using this counseling in order to solve their psychological aspects, so that they could reduce the impacts of those negative items or the negative issues, and so that they could perform in a more better way. In this way you are managing. So this particular counseling is a part of both human resource management and human resource development. Now here also you are improving the performance, but here you consider the case where training is not the solution. Okay, so if the issue is regarding the mental health, then counseling is used. This is the major thing that you have to remember. Whenever any issue relating to the psychological aspect, or in simple terms relating to mental health, are arise, then counseling is used. Now HRD, human resource development, should aim for identifying mental health issues and provide assistance to resolve them, and also try to create an environment with as much less chance of mental issues as possible. We have just discussed, right? This particular counseling comes into picture when anything related to mental health issues, or anything related to, or any issues related to psychological health are present, right? Now the organization must act in two different ways, or the organization must concentrate in two different things. First one, to identify and to help the employees facing with mental health issues or psychological issues, and also trying to create an environment where the sources which are resulting in this particular mental health issues or psychological aspects are as less as possible. So organization should deal with both the employees who are suffering and the sources in the organization which are causing these things, and trying to reduce those sources or eliminate those sources completely, and trying to create a positive environment. Now the basic fundamental of counseling is to reduce stress. Okay, now following up with the person who undergoes or has undergone counseling is very important. This is another important point that we have to stress relating to counseling. See, we cannot tell that see, in training also we have looked, right? So, once you have completed the training, you have to evaluate the training program, right? Similarly, see, in counseling also you have evaluate the counseling program. Now even though your after the evaluation of the counseling program, you came to know that okay, this counseling program worked in a very good manner, in an expected manner, all these things. Now there is another important thing that that adds or is extra in this counseling, which is you have to follow up with the particular counselee, or the with the employees who who have undergone this particular counseling program, because there are instances where these mental health issues or the psychological aspects which were causing mental health issues to the employees may come back. Okay, now you always have to concentrate that. That is why we tell that following up with the person who undergoes or has undergone counseling is very important. Now counseling is done through employee assistance programs. Now these EAPs, employee assistance programs, can be done in-house or can be outsourced. So see, we have in the initial I told you, right, we will be looking after how these particular counseling programs are delivered or used in the organization. See, basically there are these programs called as employee assistance programs. That means there are these programs in the organizations which aim in providing assistance to the employees in dealing with their issues. So counseling in organization is provided using EAPs, employee assistant programs. What are these EAPs? EAPs are basically within the organization, or basically the programs in the organization. Now not always within the organization. Some of the organizations, what they do is they try to design their own EAPs, or some organizations bring the EAPs from the outside. So basically these EAPs are the programs in the organizations which help the employees to deal with these kind of situations relating to mental health and psychological issues and all these things. Okay, now let's look at these particular EAPs, employee assistance programs. Employee assistance programs are the job-based programs operating within an organization that can operate on identifying the troubled employees, motivating them to resolve their problems, providing them assistance through counseling, training, etc. See, basically main important thing in counseling is what happens between a counselor and counselee is, for example, if I'm the counselor and if you are the troubled employee, the counselee. Okay, now let us assume that the organization, created a counseling program where I have to counsel you. Okay, now we both come. Now the main thing about this entire counseling is me, I'm the counselor here, right? In this example, I try to create a positive environment, which is like a brainstorming session where I will be basically supporting you to come out with different alternatives for the issues that you're dealing with. That means, for example, if you have a particular problem, instead of me telling you that, okay, you have to do this in order to solve that problem, in addition to that, I will, the main thing about this particular counseling is, or the most important thing about this particular counseling is, I will be creating an environment in which you will be starting to think in different dimensions or different point of views, which initially you did not think. That means you had a problem relating to some issue. Now you came to me, or basically the organization assigned me as a counselor. Now I will be creating an environment in which I will start to ask you different questions. I will start to provide you different ideas. I will tell you that, did you think in this way, did you think in that way, what would you do if this particular thing happened. In this way I will be, turning this particular conversation or converting this particular conversation into a positive environment where you will start to think on your own about different possibilities. So basically in counseling, what happens is, this particular counselor is there, right? He acts as a facilitator. That means the main thing that he does is creating a positive environment. And the other thing that happens in this counseling is, the major role here is played by you. Okay, now EAPs address various topics like alcoholism, anxiety, depression, mental health issues due to financial problems, marital problems, etc. Okay, these are the, some of the different things that are handled by this EAPs. Okay, now confidentiality is the most important part or feature of counseling. See, always remember that. See, in coaching and mentoring also confidentiality matters, but confidentiality matters most in counseling, because in counseling there will be instances where the counselor will be vulnerable. That means he will be at his weakest point sometimes. That means he will be very open. He will be starting to discuss his very own personal, very deep personal problems to you. Now, confidentiality is one of the most important thing in this entire counseling. That means you cannot discuss his personal issues to, whomever you want. Now for this purpose, in organizations you will be having confidentiality policies, confidentiality agreements, and all these things. Okay, now only the people who need to know should know. That means, for example, if the top manager, if the top manager identified a troubled employee and he assigned me as a counselor. Now, I, after conducting this particular counseling session, should inform to this particular top management about the basic problems. Now that is why I told you, only the people who need to know should know. That means rest everything should be maintained confidentiality. Now there is also a policy for confidentiality in counseling. Only the people who need to know should know it. Okay, this is basic theory relating to the counseling. Now let us look after the process or the different stages in counseling. Okay, that means between the counselor and the counseling, all the steps, the different stages that we go through, the, between the counselor and counseling, is basically this topic of process or stages of counseling. See, the first and foremost thing is relationship building. Relationship building is one of the most important matter. That means, see, basically I told you, right, there will be certain instances where, the counselor will be at his weakest position. Or see, basically in counseling, everything related to psychological issues or, mental stress or mental issues will be discussed, right? Now here the first and foremost thing is relationship building. That means, for example, if I want to tell you my psychological problems or personal problems, first of all I have to trust you, right? That means there should be a strong bond between us two, right? That means that is what is the relationship building, right? So relationship building is the first and foremost step or the first and foremost stage in this counseling. That means, as soon as the counseling starts, the first and foremost step is relationship building. The counselor tries to build a good relationship with the counselee. Okay, now this may be done by, asking different generalized questions, or trying to initiate a conversation about all the personal things, like, well, what do you basically do, what are your hobbies, or, tell more about yourself. In this way a good relationship is built directly. If the organization assign me as a counselor, I can't directly come to you and tell that, okay, tell me what are your psychological issues, why are you facing. In this way nothing happens. Okay, in counseling basically the trust is built first, the relationships are built first. Now the next step is, or the next stage is, assessment and diagnosis. That means, see, once a good relationship is built between the counselor and the counselee, the next stage is actually getting into the main reasons why this entire counseling program has been initiated. That means, for example, if I'm dealing with anxiety and the organization has assigned you as the counselor, the first and foremost thing that happens is the first stage, which is we both try to build a good relationship or a good rapport between both of us. There will be instances where employee may request the organization to change the counselor because he does not have good trust levels, or there is no basic understanding between them. At rare cases these things also will happen. So coming back to this topic, so the first stage is relationship building. Once the good relationship is built, the second thing is this particular assessment and diagnosis, where we will start to get into the main topic or the main reasons, or we will be starting to discuss about all the issues for which we came into this particular counseling program in the first place. Okay, so I will be starting to tell my problems, telling you, or basically you will be asking, telling that, okay, tell me what are your different issues, and then I will be starting to open up, telling that, okay, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, these are the issues, these are all my problems and all these things. And basically you will diagnose each and everything. Basically we will be looking after these problems in different aspects. We will be communicating with each other. I will be telling this, you will be telling that, you will be telling why this, why that. I will be giving my explanation and all these things. Okay, now based on this entire thing, based on this entire assessment and diagnosis, counseling goals are formulated. That means, for example, if I tell that, see, I am facing or basically I have anxiety relating to this particular issue. Now the counseling goal will be like reducing the anxiety level regarding this particular issue. In this way the goals are formulated. That is the third step, which is the formulation of counseling goals. Okay, now basically certain gaps are identified, or certain problems are identified on my side by the organization, so they initiated this particular counseling program. Initially the organization may or may not have known the original problems. Now once I start to once after the relationship building stage, once I start to communicate my personal problems or my basic psychological or mental health problems with you, relating to, or depending on whatever I have communicated, the counseling goals are formulated. Okay, now the next thing is, once the goals are formulated, you as a counselor will be giving out ideas, telling, or basically you will be listing out different alternatives, or you will be helping me to come out with different alternatives on my own by trying to create a positive environment, or trying to give different ideas. In this way we both work with each other, and we both basically come out with different interventions in order to solve that particular problem. Now once we have our counseling goals, and once we have the different alternatives in order to solve that particular problem, or in order to reach that particular counseling goals, we basically start to work on that particular goals, reaching the objectives or reaching the goals. That is basically this particular step. Next step, which is interventions and problem solving. That means we come out with different interventions, or different mechanisms, or different methods on how to reach that particular counseling goals. And then once we have that particular mechanisms or interventions on how to reach our counseling goals, we start to work. That means I start to work on solving my particular problem with the assistance of you, which is you are the counselor and I am the counselee. Now the next thing is termination and follow up. That means once the this particular counseling goals are reached, this particular counseling program reaches to the termination stage. And once it is terminated, that means once the program has ended, following up or follow up is done. Okay, now the last stage is evaluation and research, where even after the counseling program is terminated and regular follow-up is happening, evaluation research is done, where the organization will start to look after why did these issues arise in the first place. Are there any sources in our organizations which are causing these issues? Is there any scope of the particular issue which may result in any psychological or any mental health issues? In this way organizations will start to analyze each and everything in the organization, in order to make sure that these kind of sources which may have negative impacts on the mental health of the employees may not occur or eliminated. So this is the process, or these are the different stages in this counseling. Okay, now this has been the topic, and next, at the last, we will be talking about coaching, mentoring and counseling. That means we will be looking after the basic. See, in the previous topic we have discussed about coaching and mentoring, right? Now this class we are discussing about counseling, right? Now let us look after, what are the different similarities between coaching, mentoring, counseling, and what are the differences between coaching, mentoring and counseling. See, coaching, mentoring and counseling, all the three have common features, like all of them aiming at performance improvement and growth, all of them having high priority to relationship, etc. But they are not the same. Now, coaching basically deals with improving the employee's performance. That means professional performance related. See, basically when we discussed about coaching, we have discussed, right? The basic aim of coaching is to improve your performance, to improve the way you perform a task, to improve your efficiency and effectiveness in performing a task. That means it is entirely professional development related. Now, mentoring basically deals with improving the employee, that is professional performance as well as personal growth and development. So basically, when we were discussing about mentoring, we also told, right, this particular coaching thing, this basically focuses on, professional development, whereas this particular mentoring thing, it focuses on both professional as well as personal development, right? Now, see, counseling basically deals with, basically these coaching and mentoring, also remember that the coaching and mentoring are the different methods, or basically they are two of the different methods of training. That means coaching and mentoring are, the methods of training, whereas counseling is not a method of training. It is an entire separate entity, like similar to training. Counseling also is one of the entity. It is a similar entity. It is not one of the methods of, training, unlike coaching and mentoring. Okay, now counseling is the entire different aspect. When you want to, when you want to focus on filling the gaps in relating to the performance issues, you basically, go to this particular training thing. When you want to deal with psychological issues or mental health issues, you basically go to this, or you basically opt for counseling. Now, see, counseling basically deals with mental health issues that is completely psychological related. Okay, now this is the basic difference. See, coaching, professional performance related; mentoring, professional performance and personal growth and development, whereas counseling is entirely psychological related. Okay, now the main difference between all these three is the level of confidentiality. Okay, now I told you, right, counseling holds the maximum level of confidentiality. That means the importance of confidentiality is very high in counseling when compared to coaching and mentoring. Now, and also, one of the other main difference between coaching, mentoring and counseling is the level of disclosure between the counselor and the counselee, that is the client. That means, see, since coaching is only focused on professional development, the level of disclosure between the coach and the coachee may not be too much. And when it comes to mentoring, since the, the major focus is on professional development as well as personal development, there may be, certain disclosure of personal issues also, because mentoring has an impact on the personal life also, right? But when it comes to counseling, the level of disclosure is very high. That means there are so many different personal deep issues that will be, or that can be, or that have a scope to be discussed in this particular counseling when compared to both coaching and mentoring. This is the second difference between coaching, counseling and mentoring. The first one is the level of confidentiality, and the second one is the level of disclosure. Now, and also, coaching and mentoring may or may not have, confidentiality agreements and all these things, but generally counseling will have confidentiality policies or confidentiality agreements separately for them. Not in all instances, but mostly they will have a separate thing. Okay, now this has been today's topic, which is counseling. So today we have started this topic of counseling, right? Now we have discussed what do you basically mean by counseling, when does this particular topic of counseling comes into picture, and in organizations, why is this counseling important, and how does how do these organizations basically deliver this counseling and all these things. And then we looked after the process of the different stages in counseling, and then we concluded by looking after the basic differences between, or we tried to look after the similarities and the differences between coaching, counseling and mentoring. We told that both coaching and mentoring are one of the methods, or basically two of the methods of training, whereas this counseling is entirely a separate entity, other than training, which comes into picture when there are gaps, and those gaps are related to or due to the mental health issues or psychological issues in an organization. So basically organizations must concentrate on this counseling also, because there is a high chance, or nowadays there is a high probability, or mental health issues or psychological related issues have become common in the organization. So that is why organizations must also ensure that they have dedicated employee assistance programs which help to identify the troubled employees and help them or assist them in order to deal with all these things, so that it would reduce or it would not create any negative impact on the employee, which will in turn create the impact on the organization. So basically we will conclude this today's topic telling that, so this is how counseling is a part of both human resource management as well as human resource development. So talking about the basic fundamentals of counseling, these all the things that we have discussed today will be enough, because we are not going in depth of this particular counseling, because this particular counseling is a very huge topic. Since we are dealing with this particular counseling as one of the small unit or one of the small topic in this entire human resource management, we have just looked after the basic fundamentals. What do you mean by counseling? When does this counseling come into picture? How does the organization use this counseling, and what is the process or the different stages in counseling? What is the difference between counseling, coaching, mentoring? So just when talking about the fundamentals of counseling, these should be enough. Now we'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class with the new topic. Thank you.